I'm not gonna lie to you, HuoHuo is looking like a really, really nice abundance character. Even in some cases better than Luocha himself, and we're gonna go over it in this video right here. Starting off with her stats, she has pretty decent stats for an abundance character. She ranks second in attack. I think the first one is Bailu. In defense, he is also second. I think the one that goes before her is Lynx. Lynx has higher defense. Number 1 in HP, which is really, really nice because it ties in really nicely with her kit. Speed is 98, which is tied for third, and then aggro 100 because obviously she's an abundance character. Overall, the most important stat is obviously going to be her HP because she scales off HP, but we're going to talk about that right now with her skills. Starting over the basics, called Stormcaller, deals wind damage equal to 50% of HuoHuo's max HP. This could do decent damage depending on if you have like a 10k HP HuoHuo, so there's that. I mean, I would leave it at 1 because I don't want to spend extra trace materials that I don't need to, but if you're one of those completionists, level 6, this is what you get, 50% of HuoHuo's max HP. Now, taking a look at her skills, called Protection, is going to dispel 1 debuff from a single target ally and immediately restores this ally's HP by an amount equal to 21% of HuoHuo's max HP plus 560. At the same time, restores the HP for allies that are adjacent to this target ally by an equal amount to 16.8 of HuoHuo's max HP plus 448. This is a massive heal. So think of this as Blade's enhanced basic, how it hits the main target in the middle and then hits adjacent targets on either side. Exactly the same thing, but with healing. It's pretty much like a reverse enhanced basic from Blade or Jingliu or Lune. That's pretty much what it is. It's the reverse of that. And I'm not gonna lie to you, 21% of what was max HP can be a lot of healing, depending on how much HP you're gonna build on her. So if you build like an 8k, 9k HP HuoHuo, that is a chunky, that is a very chunky piece of healing that you got going on right here. And that's just only to the one ally. Like this, just to throw in random numbers on there, if you have a 7000 HP HuoHuo and then you do this skill at level 10, it's going to heal for about 2030 to the main target and 1624 to adjacent targets. That is a lot of healing. Like I think this is the biggest single heal in the game, if I'm not mistaken, because you're effectively healing 5278 HP in just one heal. I think Fushuan's heal can be higher, but it's really not a heal for other teammates. So this is probably the best heal in the game as of right now. Moving on to her ultimate, is called Spiritual Domination. It regenerates energy for allies, excluding this character, by an amount equal to 20% of their respective max energy. At the same time, increases their attack by 40% for 2 turns. I can't even begin to explain how good this ultimate is. It's not 20 energy, guys. It's 20% of their max energy. That means for a 140 energy ultimate character, like let's say Jingliu, this is 28 energy, right? Just by triggering it. 28 energy, boom, there. If you have a Tingyun on the team, boom, you get another 60 energy. That's 80. That's more than half of Jingliu's energy capacity right there in just 2 ultimates. Her with Tingyun is going to be so crazy, guys. I'm sorry. Also buffs your attack for 40% for 2 turns, which is higher than Bronya's attack buff with her ultimate, which is 33%. A very, very solid ultimate for HuoHuo. All right, now is where it gets juicy here. Talent is where everything comes together. It's called Ethereal Metaflow. After using her skill, HuoHuo gains sacrifice life lasting for 2 turns. This duration decreases by 1 turn at the start of HuoHuo's each turn. If HuoHuo has sacrificed life when an ally's turn starts or when they use their ultimate, restores HP for that ally by an amount equal to 4.5% of HuoHuo's max HP plus 120. At the same time, every ally with 50% HP or less gets healed once. That's crazy. What? Also, when sacrifice life is triggered to heal allies, dispel 1 debuff from that ally. This effect can be triggered up to 6 times using the skill again, resets the trigger count. Also, when you upgrade her traces, you're going to get Fearful to Act. When the battle starts, she automatically gets a sacrifice life. She's going to get the chance to resist crown control debuff. This is pretty standard. And then the last one is going to be when her talent is triggered to heal her allies, HuoHuo regenerates 1 energy, which is so crazy that this is her whole kit is so good, guys. It's just like a ball of synergy. Last but not least, her technique, Impeachment of Evil. HuoHuo terrorizes surrounding enemies, inflicting horror struck on them. Enemies in horror struck will flee away from HuoHuo for 10 seconds. When entering battle with enemies in horror struck, there is a 100% base chance of reducing every single enemy's attack by 25% for 2 turns. This is pretty good. Nothing to write home about. Like this is the only part of her kit that doesn't really center. It helps with survival because you're going to take less damage for the first 2 turns, but it doesn't really contribute anything to the rest of her kit. Let's try to break her kit down a little bit more just so you guys really understand what is going on here. So essentially, HuoHuo's kit is designed for it to have sacrifice life up at all times. Sacrifice life is this thing right here. She gets 2 every time she casts her skill, and then every turn, whenever you upgrade her traces, every time she's in battle, the first turn, she gets 1 turn of sacrifice life. What does that mean? That means that HuoHuo is going to passively heal your team as soon as they take a turn or when they use an ultimate. Kind of like how Luocha's passive heal is whenever they attack. This is going to trigger at the start of the turn and whenever they use an ultimate, essentially whenever they take an action. Also, when this passive heal triggers, it's also going to cleanse 1 debuff from them every time up to 6 times. Not individually, not every character 6 times, just 6 times in total. But the thing is that you want to run HuoHuo fast enough to where you are going to be using, like I said in my previous video, you're going to be using skill, basic skill, and then you should be able to ultimate if you follow what I'm going to tell you further along in the video. So essentially, in 2 turns, you should be able to get rid of 6 debuffs, which is kind of crazy if you ask me. That's a lot of debuffs to get rid of. That is pretty much the best cleanse in the game, essentially. Although it's not in command, like it's not like Linksys where you can just like trigger it whenever you want. I think that's pretty valuable as well. But this one dispels the most amount of debuffs that you can possibly do. Now, if that wasn't enough healing or dispelling, her skill does the same thing. But the good thing is that you only need to use her skill once every 2 turns if you follow this guide, because I'm going to teach you how to build a super fast ultimate spamming HuoHuo. Also, at the same time she is passively healing your teammates, she's gaining energy every time she does so. This is kind of crazy, especially when we stack it with the energy regen. She's going to be generating a lot of energy this way if you stack up the energy regen high enough. All right, let's talk about the most busted part of HuoHuo's kit, and this is going to be her ultimate. Regenerating 20% of your allies' max energy is actually insane. It's way more than Ting Yun's, not by a lot, but actually it can be by a lot actually. And to showcase this, I'm going to just let's go in game so I can showcase how this can be really powerful. Okay, to demonstrate this, I'm going to take this traditional Blade, Jingliu, Bronya, and Sustain team, and we're going to be replacing Fuxuan, which is my current Sustain, with a HuoHuo, and she is set to regenerate 20% of our entire team's energy cap. She's going to be regenerating here 28 energy for Jingliu. That means, yeah, that's 28 energy for Jingliu, 24 energy for our Bronya, and I think 26 energy for our Blade. So, you know, 26, 24, 28, what is that? Like 70 something? I don't even want to do the math, but it's like 70 something energy that she just gives you off. And with the build that I'm going to show you guys, she's going to be able to do this every 3 or 4 turns. So, and aside from that, she's going to be giving the entire team 40% attack. Pretty insignificant for Blade. Actually, it's not really insignificant for Blade. Not as significant for Blade. And obviously, also not as significant for Jingliu either, but it's still a 40% attack boost. I don't know. To me, it just kind of crazy when it's coupled with the 20% max energy. What was looking like a busted abundance character slash harmony characters is probably going to be like it's going to feel like you're running 2 harmonies in your team, because it is what it is, or maybe 3, because people just are opting not to run the in anymore because they're just so advanced. All right, let's take a look at her traces. So he gets a ton of useful stats in her traces, as you can see right here. Effect rest, we can add it up. That's 4 here. That's 10 with this 6 right here. That's 4 plus 6. That's 10. 8. That's 18% effect rest. So if you run Broken Keel, you already have 28% for effect rest. That means you only need 1 relic with effect rest to guarantee that you're going to activate Broken Keel. Super easy to activate Broken Keel with HuoHuo. HuoHuo is just so good, guys. It's so good. HP, look at how much HP she gets. She gets 4. That's 10. That's 16. That's 20. And I think she has 1 more. She gets 28% HP on her traces. This is crazy. And the reason this is significant is because this allows her to run a defense piece, because with no defense piece, she will take some damage. She will take some significant damage. She doesn't have other ways of reducing damage taken. So you're either going to have to run the 2-piece set damage reduction, or you're going to have to run a defense piece somewhere, or have really insane defense rolls. If you get really insane defense rolls, then you can get away with it. But, or if you can just like have 11,000 HP, I guess. No boss is going to one-shot you with 11,000 HP. And if that wasn't enough, she also gets, I think 5 speed. She gets 5 extra speed. So technically, she's sitting at 103 speed. Absolutely bonkers kit. I don't know what they were thinking with HuoHuo. She's really good. Moving on to her Eidolons, her S1, the duration of sacrifice life produced by the talent is extended by 1 turn. When HuoHuo possesses sacrifice life, all allies speed increases by 12%. Pretty much a HuoHuo at E1 makes her, I think, the second best buffer in the game as an abundance character, because not only she's giving your team immense healing, cleansing, she's giving your team speed, attack, and energy regeneration to the entire party. Like, all of this is for the entire party. So her E1 pretty much makes her the second best buffer in the game next to Bronya, just because Bronya is just Bronya. All right, looking at her E2, if HuoHuo possesses sacrifice life, when an ally is struck by a killing blow, the ally will not be knocked down and their HP will immediately be restored by an amount equal to 50% of their max HP. This reduces the duration of sacrifice life for 1 turn. This effect can only be triggered twice per battle. Essentially, her E2 takes sacrifice life name to heart. Like, it literally, whenever you die, you actually don't die, and then you just regenerate 50% of your HP. It's really similar to Fu Xuan's E2. Yeah, it's really similar to Fu Xuan's E2. It only triggers one ally too, right? Yeah, when an ally is struck. Actually, no, it says when an ally is struck. It doesn't say when one ally is struck. So I don't know if it regenerates everybody or... Oh, no. Okay, so this could be up to 2. Okay. So yeah, it's really similar to Fu Xuan's, but Fu Xuan's is a little bit better because this can affect the entire team, and then HuoHuo can only affect up to 2 characters, and she has to have the sacrifice life. So if 2 characters die and she only has 1 sacrifice life, she will only resuscitate one of them. The other one, she's dead. All right, her E4, when healing a target ally via skill or talent, the less HP the target ally has, the higher the amount of healing they will receive. The maximum increase in healing provided by HuoHuo is 80%. I'm kind of weary that they didn't provide any sort of numerical value to this. So we're gonna have to like wait and see what it actually is going to end up being. But this sounds like really nice. Like, if it's like heals you up in a pinch and then it tops you off. Essentially, that's what it is. And then her E6 pretty much makes her a better Bronya. When healing an ally target, increase the target's ally's damage dealt by 50% for 2 turns. So her E6 pretty much makes her a better Bronya. Like, it just literally makes her the best buffer in the game, essentially. Aside from giving attack, energy, speed, healing, dispelling, now she's going to increase your damage dealt for 2 turns for 50%, mind you, which is higher than, well, actually no, it's not higher than Bronya's, but it's still 50% damage dealt. It's nothing to scoff at. Okay, let's talk about her relics and her build. Obviously, as I said in my previous video, the 4-piece messenger of hyperspace is really nice because you don't need her E1 to increase your ally speed, albeit it's only for 1 turn after she uses her ultimate, not at all times, but it's still really nice option. You know, it just pretty much makes HuoHuo's ultimate the pretty much one of the best ultimates in the game. So in my opinion, this is her best set. This is her best in slot set, the 4-piece messenger hacker space. You can make a case for a 2-piece messenger hacker space for the speed and a 2-piece max HP, which is also very nice. This 4-piece doesn't really apply to her. She doesn't hit anybody. She doesn't crit, so it doesn't really matter. The healing set, the outgoing healing set, is actually pretty nice as well. I wouldn't really, unless you're running like a Bibita Lune or something like that, that you really need skill points, then I wouldn't really recommend going for the 4-piece. And actually, I don't even recommend going for the 2-piece because you can get this from like light cones, and we're going to talk about that later. All in all, for her 4-piece relic set, her 4-piece messenger hacker space is going to be my recommendation. Planar ornaments, I think Broken Keel is her best in slot for right now. Effect res plus 10%. If you have this with just by equipping a 2-piece set of Broken Keel, you already have 28%. So all you need is 1 relic that has effect res, and you already trigger this, and this is going to give your allies 10% crit damage, which is pretty nice. I think every team should run at least 2 units with Broken Keel. So as of right now, as of this moment, this is the relic piece that I'm going to recommend. Another recommendation is going to be the Fleet of the Aces, because it obviously gives you max HP and increases your allies attack by 8%. It pretty much boosts what she already does and what she already has. Really good set for her as well. But there is a new set that we're going to be getting in Simulated Universe World 8, and it's called Penacony Land of the Dreams, and it's called the Grand Hotel. Let's call it the Grand Hotel. Grand Hotel is going to increase your wearer's energy regeneration by 5%. This by itself is extremely invaluable for HuoHuo, and I'll explain why in a second. Also increases the damage for all other allies with the same damage type as the wearer by 10%. In the same team comp that I just described, we have Bronya and we also have Blade. HuoHuo as well as Wind is going to be increasing their damage by 10% essentially. So this might actually be really good for Bronya and Blade comps as well. So if you have Bronya and Blade with this, Blade's going to be getting a 20% damage increase. which is really, really nice. But the energy regeneration is what I'm here for, and I'll explain everything in greater context whenever we talk about the light cone. As I was editing the video, I realized that I messed up my recording on the relic main stats and substats portion of the video. So this is what this is going to be. Starting off with their chest, I think the only option here is going to be HP percent. Maybe defense percent depending on your substat rolls for HP, but for the most part you're going to be wanting HP percentage on your chest. As far as boots, obviously speed is the right choice over here, but also speed can work. HuoHuo already gets a lot of HP in her traces, so she doesn't necessarily need an HP boot. Speed boot is going to be number 1 because again the main goal of HuoHuo is to keep sacrifice life up at all times, and the faster she is, the faster she can take a turn, and then the faster she can re-up her sacrifice life buff. As far as the orb, I think HP orb or defense percent orb is going to be the number 1. I suggest running at least 1 defense percent stat because she desperately needs a defense, unless you get really lucky with defense percent rolls on your substats. In that case, then you can also run HP. And last but not least, energy regen rope is going to be the number 1 option at all times. You don't want to run anything other than energy recharge rope with HuoHuo, but if you just don't happen to have one, HP or defense can work as well. When it comes to her substats rolls, you're obviously going to want to focus on HP first, speed, then defense, and then effect res. Pretty easy, pretty simple, nothing too crazy. Just make sure to stack as much HP as you can with as much defense and speed. So if they have either HP or defense coupled with speed, that is a good piece for her. And then follow some of the guidance that I'm going to be providing in this guide later on. You won't really need that much effect res to trigger broken keel. So there is that. All right, her signature light cone 9 of fright, needless to say, is the best in slot for her. It encouraged her to get energy regeneration rate, which is why the Penacony one is really, really nice. The Penacony set that we just talked about. Aside from the energy regeneration rate, whenever any ally uses your ultimate, the wearer restores HP for the current ally with the lowest amount of HP by 10% of their HP, essentially. So when anybody does an ultimate, HuoHuo is going to heal the ally with the least amount of HP by 10% of their max HP. This is kind of crazy. And remember, she's also getting energy whenever this happens. So whenever somebody uses an ultimate, somebody gets healed, she's getting 1 energy or 1 point something energy because of energy regeneration. But she's getting energy every time anybody heals. And aside from that, whenever the wearer provides healing for an ally, it increases the healed ally's attack by 2.4%. So anytime she heals anyone, she's going to be stacking up their attack. This is great for Ting Yun as well because Ting Yun's buff stacks of her own attack. So if she's increasing her own attack, increasing whoever the DPS is attacks as well. So it all like snowballs together really, really nicely. So this can stack up to a 9.6% attack, which is pretty nice if you can trigger it up to 5 times. He also gets about 1200 more HP from this, which is really, really nice. Yeah, this light cone is looking really, really nice for her. All right, now for my recommendations, if you have a Bailu light cone laying around, it's actually going to be really, really nice. It increases your max HP by 18% and outgoing healing by 12%. And also this portion right here is actually really nice for HuoHuo as well because she has probably the highest healing in the game right now. So the damage that she's going to be recording is going to be really insane. It's going to be in the 7,000 HP that she's going to be healing per skill, not including the passive. So yeah, Bailu's light cone looking really, really nice. If you have it laying around, it really works with her. Okay, we're getting this free-to-play light cone. It's called Hey over here. It gives us a little bit of HP. It's actually a really decent amount of HP, 952. And what this is going to do is increases the wearer's max HP by 8%, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get it at S5. So let's look at it at S5. Increases the wearer's max HP by 12%, and when the wearer uses a skill, increases outgoing healing by 28%, lasting for 2 turns. This is absolutely insane. What does this mean for HuoHuo? That means that whenever you use a skill, remember her rotation has to be skill, basic, basic, because sacrifice lives last for 2 turns. So skill, basic, basic. So for those 2 turns that you're doing basics, your outgoing healing is going up by 28%. So you're going to be healing a lot, like a lot with this light cone right here. I'm gonna have to see in game if it says when it uses the skill, so I don't know if the outgoing healing affects the skill or if it doesn't, so we're gonna have to just wait and see. But this light cone is looking really, really nice if healing is like your main focus when it comes to HuoHuo, which it should be. She's a healer, but if healing is your one and only focus, this light cone really works, and it's free, probably free at S5 as well. So here we go. Another light cone I'm going to be recommending is going to be Perfect Timing. And if you run the Broken Keel spiel that I told you about, this actually works really well. If you run this light cone, Broken Keel will be just activated by itself, because you're going to have 10% from Broken Keel, 18% from her own, and then you have 16 here. So that gives you a total of 44% effect res. You don't even have to run effect res in your subsets if you don't want to, but you might want to, because this light cone increases your outgoing healing by an amount equal to 33% of your effect res. So for example, let's say you have 100% effect res, which is kind of overkill, but if you have 100% effect res, you are going to get 33% outgoing healing. So this works really well. So let's say you have a reasonable 40% effect res. That means that you're going to be getting around 14%. Let me do the math real quick. Yeah, if you have a respectable 40% effect res with this light cone at S1, because at S5 is way more, but at S1, your outgoing healing is going to be upwards of 13.2, which is more than what the other light cone we just talked about was. So, or the two-piece outgoing healing set, which I think is utter garbage. So don't go for that. But those Perfect Timing, I think Perfect Timing is a really nice option. Shared Feeling is kind of like if you don't have anything else, throw that in there. I don't really like it. It does regenerate you skill for all allies. This is what I hate about it. If it was for yourself, that would be fine, but it's for allies, so whatever. This is going to be my theorycraft breakthrough, I guess. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I am going to recommend post-stop conversation at S5 or S4 and above. And you're going to be like, oh, like I said in my pre-farm video, I understand that the outgoing healing when they use your ultimate by 24% doesn't really do anything. I understand it. I don't care about that. I care about the 16% energy regeneration rate, which I explained in my pre-farm video if you watched it. This, with the energy regen rope with the Penacony set, it gives you about 40.4% energy regeneration rate, and that is going to bring your skill rotations, assuming you have 100. That means that with only energy regen rope, you're going to have to do skill basic skill basic to get an ultimate. That's 5 actions. And if you don't have an energy recharge rope, that's 7 actions. It's going to be skill basic skill basic. But if you have this little wombo combo that I have, which is 16% plus the Penacony set, which is 5, plus the energy regen rope, that is 19.4, you get a total of 40.4. That 40.4 energy regen rate that you get extra is going to allow you to do skill basic. And if in these 3 turns your allies get hit and they heal a lot, you may actually get it skill basic, and then it's somewhere in between your basic and your next skill, you may get your ultimate. But if you don't, you will get it with your next ultimate, which you don't even have to do the next ultimate. I mean, you don't even have to do the next skill. You can just basic and get it, but you're definitely going to get it in 4 actions every single time, which is kind of crazy. Possibly even 3 actions, depending on how much your team heals and how much HuoHuo gets hit. Because if HuoHuo gets hit every single time and your team is healing itself every single time, HuoHuo is going to be regenerating so much energy that it's actually crazy. And how we discussed earlier, HuoHuo's ultimate is just so insane that you want to fire it as much as you can. You want to have a lot of uptime when it comes to this ultimate. So having the most energy regeneration rate you can possibly think of is going to be the name of the game. Yeah, this light cone, ignoring this part over here, obviously this light cone right here with the 16% energy regeneration rate is Chef's Kiss for HuoHuo. And it's really reminiscent. It's the only other light cone that gives you energy directly. Let's look it up. Yeah, this is the only other light cone in the game that's for abundance that gives you energy regeneration just by equipping it. Like nothing else does. This is actually a good one as well. The Battle Pass light cone gives you max HP by 16% at S1, which is pretty nice. And it also triggers a heal every time you attack, but I don't know, it's going to be separate from the Sacred Life heal. So it's not going to trigger it's going to be extra healing, but it's not going to be counting for the buffs and stuff like that. So yeah, post-stop conversation, secretly busted with HuoHuo. All right, taking a look at teams, taking into consideration the Penacony Relic set, I think this team would actually be pretty nice if you just replace Fushuan with HuoHuo. Bronya will be taking advantage of it. Blade will be taking advantage of it. Bronya, if that happens, Bronya is going to be slapped on with that Penacony set, because it gives her 5% energy regeneration, and it also gives Blade 10% extra damage and 20% extra damage with HuoHuo in the team. Pretty much any team that you have Luocha or Fushun, you can pretty much squeeze in HuoHuo. Any team that you have Ting Yun as well. Yeah, essentially like Jing Liu can benefit from it because she needs her ultimate for to get more stacks of her transcendent state or whatever. Blade benefits from her because of the energy and the healing, the passive healing. Bronya makes HuoHuo really, really nice because she's going to put up your DPS, and your DPS is going to be taking more turns, especially if it's Blade or Jing Liu. Going to benefit them tremendously. So pretty much any team where you run Fushun and Luocha, just replace Fushun and Luocha with HuoHuo, and that will be it. There's really not that much intricacy when it comes to team building when it comes to HuoHuo. And that is going to be my pre-release guide for HuoHuo. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and until next time guys, see ya.